pilot watches are very cool. Um, they have several uses, several calculated uses. Now, when you think of calculations and measurements, you think of a perspective. You think a observation, and some people will even tie this with how these calculations and measurements are used to keep people within a circumference of the Earth. Some people will tie that with flat Earth, um, and flight instructions and the deviation of paths of flights in order to avoid seeing what is really out there. Some people will tie that in. But the interesting thing about this is the very mere fact that someone was able to create and observe something, measure it, and turn it into a tool that didn't require electrical inputs, none of that. It just required themselves, the understanding they had, turned into a tool. And many people do things like that. All right, people create devices or tools, not electronics, not always, but they create tools, devices that deal with things they have observed, measurements, all right, things they have learned, and they put it in a device that is basically a reminder to do that, just like the Mayan calendar. See, the Mayan calendar is interesting because it works like a clock, it works like a watch, and it works like a flight calculator, you could say, a flight computer, all right, and not in the sense of electrical inputs of ones and zeros, all right. So, the flight computer, all right, which is a device, a handheld tool, better said, a handheld measuring tool. And a hand, because people associate device a lot with electronics, but the handheld measuring tool, which has measurements and numbers and a system of measurements and numbers all put into this tool. People use things like that even with construction. But when you have motion going on and flight and different elements being put and considered in flight, it's very interesting how much mental capacity one can have or exhibit when using one of those tools. So the Mayan calendar is one of those tools. All right, it's one of those measuring tools that was created by someone and a people who have observed how life flows. Because since everything is timeless, all right, that means maybe there's a formula to move through the, as they say it, upaya, which is the movement and your growth through Maya. Okay?